It's all yours.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Corina Ene, and I am with the Office of Federal Programs at the State Department of Education. On behalf of State Superintendent Hofmeister, I'd like to welcome you to the first PowerPoint in the series of presentations about the school-wide and targeted assistance plans. We are going to review the comprehensive needs assessment today, and I will be going back and forth between this PowerPoint and a Word document and an Excel document that our office has put together to help you develop this comprehensive needs assessment. And I am trying to go to the next slide, Gary, and I can't.
Just click your mouse once right on the presentation and then go forward again. There you go.
So what is a comprehensive needs assessment, or in short, we call it CNA? It is a tool that is used to assess the performance levels and identify the needs in a school. It's used to determine the root causes of the achievements and the lack thereof. It sets priorities to be addressed, it plans for improvement and budget to support the improvement, and it's also used to support schools' vision and mission in order to increase student achievement. Which program should the CNA encompass? A comprehensive needs assessment should identify performance challenges that encompass or make connections to the purposes of all ESSA programs. Especially when federal funds are requested to be used for proposed expenditures, there must be a demonstrated need for those expenditures identified in the comprehensive needs assessment. Why is a comprehensive needs assessment necessary? It is a good practice to identify factors that lead to success and failure in any aspect of the school. It is a vehicle that leads to implement better strategies for improvement. Schools are able to determine the effectiveness of educational programs for each subgroup of students served. So to get started with the CNA, I think it is good to keep in mind that all students can grow and all schools can improve. You will identify the local needs, you will select relevant evidence-based practices and interventions, you will plan for implementation, then you will implement and examine and reflect over what you have implemented. We will take each of these practice by itself, and we will talk about them in more detail. So elements of a successful comprehensive needs assessment are the rigorous data analysis, collaborative identification of improvement, stakeholder engagement, and needs-driven content-specific approach. Let's talk about the rigorous data analysis. It will look at the student achievement results data. And this is the collection of the student achievement data that will allow leadership to reflect deeply on practices of the previous year and identify areas of strength and areas of focus. Student demographics, the collection of student demographics data will allow leadership to tailor the instructional delivery model to better serve subgroups of student population. Other data assessment results, in this case, leadership will look at other data assessment sources such as observations, anecdotal records, formative and summative assessment, and so on. Discipline and engagement data, the collection of this type of data will give leadership an overall picture of the attendance rate and chronic absenteeism of students and staff, the number of student suspensions, expulsions, and incident reports, and so on. And it will allow leadership to take appropriate measures to increase attendance and reduce or eliminate incidents. Also, counseling and mental health data is very helpful. The collection of this type of data will give leadership insight into student physical and psychological well-being. school data. The collection of this type of data will allow leadership to reflect on the school climate and culture, as well as the school operations and management. Multiple data measures, the collection of this type of data will be through stakeholder surveys and will allow leadership to identify areas of strength and areas of concern based on any significant findings from surveys. This data collection will be easier to collect, let's say, if you have a comprehensive needs assessment tool. Our office, the Office of Federal Programs, has developed a tool which is there for your resource. It is not required. It is not mandated to be returned in any way to the Office of Federal Programs. But for those districts that do not have a CNA tool, there is one for there. It is on the State Department of Education's website. And I'm going to switch screens in a little bit to show you how the document looks like and in which ways you can use it. But anyway, for the data collection, there is an Excel document that has 14 tabs, and they will address all these 14 areas that will help you collect the data. So, Gary, I have switched to the Word document. Am I supposed to stop sharing or? Okay. Can you see my Word document on the screen?
Yep, we got it. We got it.
Okay, okay, perfect. Thank
Oh,
you.
and Corina, if you can talk a little louder or closer to the microphone, a few people are having a hard time hearing.
Okay, okay. So this is the Word document called the Comprehensive Needs Assessment that is on the website, on the Office of Federal Programs website. And it has a table of content where it gives you all the 5 areas that are have been developed in this document. And the first section will help you collect the school information, where you put the school district's name, school name, principal's phone number, and so on. Then section 2 starts with the student data collection. And because there are so many data to be collected, it was easier to put this in an Excel document that will be accessed again on the website, on the State Department of Education website. And if you click this blue link here, it will take you to that Excel file where there will be 14 tabs. So let me switch to that again. Okay, so I should have the Excel document on the screen. Gary, can you confirm that?
Yes, we do. We see it.
Okay, okay, thank you. So, like in the Word document, it was mentioned that there are 14 tabs. Each tab talks about a specific type of data. And you cannot see all of these tabs. There is a little instructions tab that the document starts with. So if you do not see all of them, you'll have to use the little arrows left and right that will move this tab all the way to the right or all the way to the left, where you can click on specific tabs. So going back to the instructions, again, there will be 14 tabs here that I am going to go into more detail when I reach each of them, because we are going to talk about each of these type of data. but I wanted to share with you at this point the Excel document. Oh, I'm trying to go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So what do you do with the data that you collect? You are going to gather the data, sort the data, create a report, and then analyze what you have observed. So when you gather the data, you are going to compile all the data, disaggregate it as necessary. Then to sort it, you are going to group data by category: academic achievement, attendance, school climate, parent enrollment, and so on. Then you'll create a report. You will provide clear narratives of the data results. You will make easy to understand charts or graphs. You are going to describe strengths, weaknesses, and critical needs. And then you are going to analyze. This is the most labor-intensive step and the most important in the same time. The team should reach consensus before drawing conclusions or writing the summary. Then you are going to collaboratively identify the improvement, and you are going to hopefully reach team consensus. Let's see what this is about, the collaboration is about. Creating collaboration takes time and effort, but the payoff is well worth it. Collaboration is important because it helps us solve problems, it brings people together, it helps people learn from each other, it opens up communication, it boosts morale, the morale of the team. Reaching a consensus is when everyone agrees on the facts, when everyone is on the same page, and I believe this should be the goal of every team. Consensus decisions can lead to better quality outcomes that empower the group to move forward together. So during collaboration, you are going to identify the elements of the comprehensive needs assessment. Like in the tool, there will be the elements that you could look at will be the math scores, the ELA scores, the attendance rates, stakeholder surveys, etc. Then you will share the understanding of each element assessed, making sure that everybody understands things in the same manner. For instance, the ELA student performance levels are, the data that you're going to collect, the staff attendance and stakeholders' perception about school. You will then assess the current level of implementation of each element. For instance, the data indicates a growth trend in math student performance, but the reading level is stagnant. Then you will assess priorities, which could be high, medium, or low priority. For example, you'll have data indicating that focusing on reading is a high priority. You will determine the opportunity score, and I believe this is something that's widely used in the school improvement. So 1 will be relatively easy to address, 2 is accomplished with current budget conditions, and 3, level 3, will require changes in the current budget and conditions. You will then summarize agreement. You'll summarize the elements of the comprehensive needs assessment, the priorities, how the needs are going to be addressed and communicated to faculty, staff, and other stakeholders. Then I'm going to switch again to the collaborative identification of improvement in the CNA tool, which is section 3. So section 3 will help you not only collect what I have talked about, but also enter your narrative description addressing each point that was in that PowerPoint. So You will describe, for instance, how the planning team members are selected and recruited and how the planning team communicates with staff, parents, and the community about the needs assessment results. Then you will have another box there where you'll describe team's understanding of the CNA elements that are assessed and the data accompanying each element. So you will have all these text boxes here that will allow you to write narrative answers and descriptions, to answer all those questions that you had about a specific topic. You are welcome to modify this document in any way that you need to. You can add more questions or more items to be described. You can choose not to use all of these, but again, this is something that was constructed, was built to help districts that do not have a comprehensive needs assessment tool. So going back to the PowerPoint, we are going to move to the next element, which is about the team consensus. No, because I just did that. It's stakeholder engagement. Successful schools are meaningfully connected with, learn from, and communicate to individuals and groups with vested interests in school outcomes, which are called stakeholders. These individuals and groups are, but not limited to, students, parents, teachers, school staff, and administrators. Stakeholder engagement is not about group decision making. Rather, stakeholder engagement is about ensuring that the ideas and concerns of all relevant groups are well represented through a more collaborative and transparent decision-making process. How to involve stakeholders in school activities? You may develop family-friendly policies and rules to encourage participation by diverse families. You may provide professional development for school teachers on family and community engagement for school. You may seek constant input from stakeholders and be considerate to their suggestions. There may be other strategies that you may want to implement, but these are just a few suggestions. You may also find ways to involve parents and the community in decision-making processes and how parents and community could support student learning. You may think about how teachers communicate with parents on a regular basis, how often, what communication methods are used, and how the data are shared with students, parents, and the community. Again, in the Comprehensive Needs Assessment Tool, section 4, there is a stakeholder engagement section that will have text boxes and questions that will help you put all those thoughts together. So going to section 4, stakeholder engagement, you may want to describe how the school involves parents and the community in the decision-making process and how parents and the community support student learning. And you will enter your narrative description in the text box there. You may describe how teachers communicate with parents on a regular basis. And you may describe how school involves students, teachers, parents, and the community to support a safe and healthy school environment. Going back to the PowerPoint. What about needs-driven content-specific approach? This is an approach that should be in everybody's mind. So you'll identify the high priority needs. After the CNA elements were identified, the data were analyzed and a consensus was reached about what works and what needs improvement. Make a list with the high priority needs in your school. Then determine the root causes of each problem. There is what's called the 5-way technique, which you can use it as a simple and effective tool for solving problems around the high priority needs. By asking a sequence of questions, of why questions, usually 5 are sufficient, we can peel away the layers of symptoms, which can lead to the root cause of a problem. Then you will establish priorities to address the highest needs. Keep in mind that addressing all the unmet needs is rarely feasible. It is necessary to identify the needs that are of the highest priority. Determining high priority helps direct resources to the programs that matter the most. You may take the following steps. You may start by making a list of all the elements, analyzing the comprehensive needs assessment. You will identify urgent needs versus important needs. And you may focus to address what carries the highest value of your school, which are the most urgent needs. Be flexible and adaptable, but stay focused on the tasks that you are committed to complete. Know the cutoff point. Be realistic about what can be feasibly accomplished. The data-driven decisions is the next step, where the high priority needs are identified, the root causes of the issues were found, the priorities were established. So now it's time to induce data-driven instruction in the classroom to improve outcomes. You will involve teachers into analyzing the data and making data-driven instructional decisions, and grow their understanding of what data-driven instruction means for them in their day-to-day activities in and out of the classroom. Then you will determine what actions need to be taken to create meaningful long-term changes. Take the CNA results and select the appropriate evidence-based strategies or interventions to address the high priority needs. And again, in the CNA tool developed, there is section 5 that will talk about needs-driven content-specific approach. And you will have a series of questions here where you'll describe the high priority needs indicated by the data analysis, and then you'll enter the narrative description in the text box. You'll describe the root causes of the high priority problems. You will have a process to establish and describe the priorities to be addressed in the upcoming school year. And again, in the last text box that was suggested, you will describe how teachers are involved in analyzing the data and making data-driven instructional decisions, and what's teachers' understanding of what data-driven instruction means for them in their day-to-day activities. So again, this is the tool, the Comprehensive Needs Assessment tool, that has a complementary Excel file about the second section of this tool, which is student data collection. Both documents can be found on the website of the State Department of Education under Federal Programs, Title I. Again, this is not required, but it has been designed to be a helpful resource for those districts that do not have a CNA tool. I'm going to minimize this because I'm not going to come back to this document, and I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. So what's next? What do you do after you collected all this data? You survey the stakeholders, you created all these narrative answers in the CNA tool. You will take the results of the CNA and the agreed upon interventions and strategies that address the high priority needs and use them to develop the Title I plan, which may be the school-wide or the targeted assistance plan. You will involve the stakeholders in the development of the Title I plan, and you will evaluate the implementation of and the results achieved by the interventions chosen to address the high priority needs. All this comprehensive needs assessment tool and preparation that you have to do prior to develop the school-wide or targeted assistance plans are really necessary in order for you to develop a high-quality school-wide plan or targeted assistance plan. I will switch to the chat box to see if I have any questions, but this was the first step that you have to take, to collect all the data and identify all the needs and all the steps and strategies that you have to implement before you even start writing the school-wide or the targeted assistance plan. So let's see if I have any questions. Okay, so one of the question is, will the PowerPoint be available? Yes, it will be available on the website in the next couple of days. Okay, the next question is, I noticed that the student achievement results tab on the spreadsheet does not match our current assessments. I don't know what that means, but again, the student achievement results tab on the spreadsheet is a suggested collection of data. You may use different data. You may have different needs in your district. So you may either adjust that student achievement results tab. You may collect different data. You may create different headings to the table because again, this is not a required tool. It's a helpful instrument for districts that do not have a CNA. I am waiting for more questions. The Office of Federal Program staff is welcome to ask questions if there are any questions. Districts may ask questions, anybody actually. Okay, there is another question. Is this a required document? If you are referring to the Comprehensive Needs Assessment Tool document and the data collection Excel file, no, they are not required documents to be submitted to the State Department of Education. But yes, you are going to need something like this document in order to be able to build your school-wide and targeted assistance plans. Okay, so does all this have to be done before you do the Title I application? Yes, because the Title I application will require to have all the school-wide plans and targeted assistance plans uploaded in the Title I application. And again, you won't be able to create the school-wide and targeted assistance plans without having the comprehensive needs assessment. This is nothing new. It was well known that the school-wide and the targeted assistance plans are based on the comprehensive needs assessment. Again, these were tools that the Office of Federal Programs have developed to help those districts that do not have a strong CNA tool that do not know what kind of data to collect. So it was just a compilation of data that was put together in these documents to make districts aware about options that you have and the type of data that you may collect. Okay, another question. Do we need to create a school-wide plan for each site, elementary, middle school, high school, or one comprehensive school-wide plan? Well, keep in mind that the school-wide plans are site-specific. So you will need, each school will need a comprehensive needs assessment site-specific because sites are different, needs are different, grade levels are different. So yes, you will need to have a comprehensive needs assessment tool developed for each site because this individual tool will help you create that individual school-wide plan for that specific site. Next question. If we select our intent for school-wide, do we have to wait a year to officially become school-wide or has that changed? Starting with last year, I believe, you were able to go school-wide instantly. So what you will have to do is you select the intent to become school-wide or targeted assistance, or in other words, to become a Title I school. Then you will have to have that school-wide plan uploaded in the Title I application. You'll have to receive approval for that school-wide plan, which will come with the application. And then after the application is approved and, in other words, the school-wide plan is approved, then you will be able to go and implement that school-wide program of target assistance right away. Another question, the budget spreadsheets have been removed as a required upload with the school-wide plan, correct? Yes, it is my understanding that the budget spreadsheets are tools, again, are helpful tools for the districts to use in conjunction with the school-wide plans. And if Nancy is on the call, maybe she can confirm that, that my statement is correct. Another question. Okay, so it's school-wide for elementary, middle, and high school. We'll download ×3 separate plans in the consolidated application or one comprehensive school-wide plan for the district. So keep in mind there is no such thing as a school-wide district. There are school-wide schools. So each school will have a school individual separate school-wide plan. So you will have for 3 sites, if you have 3 sites, one elementary, one middle, and one high school, you will have 3 separate school-wide or target assistance plans. What we are talking about today was the comprehensive needs assessment, the CNA, that will help you develop that individual school-wide plan or targeted assistance plan. We have not started the school-wide plan yet. We have not, through this PowerPoint presentation, we have talked about laying the background of the school-wide plan, but we have not started, or I have not started talking about each element or each component of the school-wide plan. We will start that in the next PowerPoint presentation, which I think it's about a few weeks from now. Okay, another question. If we have 3 elementary schools, do each need their own plan or can it be a collaborative plan encompassing all? Again, it will have to be 3 separate school-wide plans. The collaboration may be there and it should be there because you should be all aware what's implemented in each school level, but there there will have to be 3 separate plans, school-wide or target assistance plans, that will be developed, implemented in the school, and then uploaded in the consult application. Very good questions. I know that there are districts out there that already have their own CNA tools. You may want to take a look at this tool that we put together. You don't have to use it at all. There may be districts that are happy to have a tool developed there, ready to be used. We oftentimes hear that schools do not know what kind of data to collect and how to write a school-wide plan because they are not that much involved into data collection. So this, the development of this PowerPoint and the CNA tool and the CNA data collection Excel file was created, or they were created with our school district in mind. I am going to wait a few more minutes to see if there are more questions. But in the meantime, I would like to thank everybody for participating in today's PowerPoint presentation. Again, this is the first PowerPoint in the series of presentations that will be, hopefully, will be helpful in creating and developing those school-wide plans and target assistance plans. So another question, can the PowerPoints for the future trainings be shared now since our plans are due to be uploaded in GMS in September? We could really use assistance with section 4, rating of funds. I am not sure if we can do that. I'm going to consult with our executive director, and if those will be shared before, then we'll send some notification in Engage OK, and we will put the links on the website. But that's a very good point. And I know it will be helpful since the plans are due on September 30th. What kind of assistance are you thinking about in section 4, grading of funds? Like suggestions on how to grade funds, or? Because I believe that every school grades funds, knowing it or without knowledge, because everybody is using all kinds of funds in a Title I school. There are multiple funding sources that a school, has access to. So when you have Title I funds and special ed funds and EL funds, neglected and delinquent, and so on, and all those funds are used for specific needs, you pay personnel at that site level, you pay instructional materials, what you do is you are grading funds. Okay, so the answer to that need of assistance with grading funds is that there is a bit of a struggle in how to put it into words. I don't know what to say. Maybe you want to give me a call and I can you can tell me specifically what kind of funds you have, and maybe I can make some suggestions. But again, a simple description of what you do in the school with all the funds that the school receives, I think it will be a very good narrative description of the ways how you grade funds in that school. Very good questions. And hopefully everybody is aware that there is a new template for the FY21 school-wide and targeted assistance plans. Again, hopefully everybody had the opportunity to either participate or watch the presentation that Nancy Hughes had for the consulted application a few days ago, I believe, or maybe last week. And you are aware that the school-wide plans and targeted assistance plans have to be uploaded within the Title I part of the consult application. They are not separate applications like they were in the past with the school-wide and targeted assistance plans. They are PDF documents that have to be filled out and then uploaded in the application, in the consult application. I believe that there are no more questions that I see popping up on my screen. I want to thank everybody again for participating in today's presentation, and I will see you in a few weeks, in a couple of weeks, talking about the next PowerPoint, which is the overview of the school-wide and targeted assistance programs. Thank you.